Recording in progress.
Let the record show that all members are here this evening, with the exception of Councilmember Bucci, who is not feeling well tonight. For those participating via Zoom, when we get to the item that you want to speak on, please use the raise your hand feature, and the city clerk will turn on your microphone to speak at the appropriate time. Okay, our next item on the agenda is presentations. Our first item is a proclamation for Fair Housing Month, and I'd like to ask Dorothy Jackson to join me at the podium here for the presentation. Hi, Dorothy. So, Dorothy, this is proclamation number 1865, Fair Housing Month, and whereas the Fair Housing Act, enacted on April 11th, 1968, enshrined in this federal law the goal of eliminating racial segregation and ending housing discrimination in the United States. And whereas the Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination in housing based on race, color, religion, sex, familial status, national origin, and disability, and commits recipients of federal funding to affirmatively further fair housing in their communities. And whereas the City of Newark is committed to the mission and intent of Congress to provide fair and equal housing opportunities for all. And whereas our social fabric, the economy, health, and environment are strengthened in diverse, inclusive communities. And whereas more than 50 years after the passage of the Fair Housing Act, discrimination persists and many communities remain segregated. And whereas acts of housing discrimination and barriers to equal housing opportunity are repugnant to a common sense of decency and fairness. Now, therefore, I, Alan L. Nagy, Mayor of the City of Newark, on behalf of the Newark City Council, do hereby proclaim April 22 as Fair Housing Month in Newark, as an inclusive community committed to fair housing and to promoting appropriate activities by private and public entities to provide and advocate for equal housing opportunities for all residents and prospective residents of Newark. And Dorothy, we'd like to thank you for being here tonight to accept this presentation. I understand you may have a few words to say.
Thank you, Mayor Nagy. Members of the City Council, I'm honored to accept this proclamation on behalf of the National Association of Realtors and the Bay East Association of Realtors. And we commend you in your pledge to provide equal and fair housing to all. As realtors, we have pledged ourselves to the same fair housing goals, and we would like to ask that if you have any way that we can help you in achieving these goals, do not hesitate to reach out to the Bay East Association or contact me directly. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Next is a proclamation for Water Safety Month, and will Senior Recreation Supervisor Peter Bears please join me. Hi, Peter. How are you tonight? Good seeing you. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is proclamation number 1867, National Water Safety Month. Whereas individual and organized forms of recreation and the creative use of free time are vital to the happy lives of all of our citizens, and whereas citizens of the City of Newark recognize the vital role that swimming and aquatic-related activities play in good physical and mental health and enhance the quality of life for all people. And whereas the citizens of Newark understand the essential role that education regarding the topic of water safety plays in preventing drowning and recreational water-related injuries. And whereas the City of Newark is extremely proud of the George M. Silliman Community Activity Center and aquatic programs of this community and their contribution to providing critical life skills, a safe and healthy place to recreate, a place to learn and grow, to swim, build self-esteem, confidence, and sense of self-worth, which contributes to the quality of life in our community. Now, therefore, I, Alan L. Nagy, Mayor of the City of Newark, on behalf of the Newark City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of May as National Water Safety Month in Newark and urge all Newark residents to enjoy, recognize, and help promote the benefits derived from quality water safety programs and recreation resources which provide something of value for everyone. So, Peter, I want to present you with that proclamation, and thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So in addition to proclaiming May as Water Safety Month, the American Red Cross will recognize our Recreation and Community Services Department as an annual recipient as a top 200 training provider in May for their efforts in providing exceptional swimming instruction, lifeguard classes, and water safety instructor course to the residents of Newark and the surrounding community. Thank you to all the program staff for their continued effort to ensure everyone is safe. And I don't know if people have visited the Silliman Center lately, but it is nice to see so many of our young people down there, and they wear these Newark lifeguard shirts. And I have to think back when so many years when we didn't have a facility like that we now have lifeguards in Newark, and a great staff of lifeguards as well. So thanks to all of them. Okay, so next is Proclamation for Arbor Day, and I'll ask that Assistant Maintenance Superintendent Hornbeck please join me. Hi, Neil. How are you, sir? So this is Proclamation number 1866, Arbor Day. Whereas the first Arbor Day was celebrated in 1872 to promote the restoration of the plains of Nebraska. And by the year 1920, more than 45 states and territories observe Arbor Day. And whereas Arbor Day will be observed in the city of Newark on April 28, 2022, and whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, enhance the environment by providing habitat for animals, purify the air, and beautify our community. And whereas Arbor Day promotes tree appreciation and conservation, tree planting, and tree care, and whereas the city of Newark has recognized the value of the thousands of specimen trees within the city limits and has consistently supported the planting and maintenance of approximately 13,000 trees on public property. Now, therefore, I, Alan L. Nagy, Mayor of the City of Newark, do hereby proclaim April 28, 2022 as Arbor Day in Newark and urge all residents to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands and to support our city's urban forestry program. And Neil, I want to present this to you, and I want to thank you and your staff for all the great work you do in maintaining the tree stock in the city of Newark. It's blossoming time, and the city sure shows it, so thank you for all. Thank you. Okay, the next item is introduction of employees. I'd like to ask Jim Scanlon, Anwar Mirza, and Roya Gonzalez, please join me. I think we'll start with Jim. Hi, Jim. How are you? Welcome to Newark. Thank you. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jim Scanlon. And Jim is a resident of Newark who joined the Public Works Department as our new Environmental Services Manager. Jim received a Bachelor of Science in Resource Economics from the University of California and a Master of Public Administration from California State University, East Bay. Jim has been the manager of the Alameda County-wide Clean Water Program for over 20 years. In his role at the Clean Water Program, Jim has assisted the cities in Alameda County to implement stormwater requirements to protect our creeks and the bay. Jim is very excited to take on his new role with the city, where in addition to stormwater, Jim will be working on solid waste programs, including recycling and diversion of compostable materials, as well as the city's sustainability program. In his spare time, Jim enjoys skiing, backpacking, playing the guitar, and going to the A's games. So, Jim, I want to welcome you to the city of Newark. Thank you for a long service. Yes, sir, thank you. And now I'd like to ask Anwar Mirza. Hi, sir, how are you? Good to see you. Good seeing you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Anwar Mirza. He joined the city's Public Works Engineering Division in January as an associate civil engineer. Anwar is a registered professional engineer with over 20 years of private and municipal engineering experience and comes to us most recently from the city of Belmont. He will be providing traffic and transportation engineering program and project management, reviewing private development and building permit applications, and providing support for our capital improvement program group. Anwar is a Newark resident and is excited to work for and serve the residents of the city in which he lives with his wife and 2 sons. On weekends, you can find him hiking up Mission Peak, on the trails at the Don Edwards National Wildlife Refuge, or enjoying a meal at any of his favorite Newark restaurants with his family. And Anwar, I want to welcome you to Newark, and may you have a long and successful career here. Thank you. Thank you. I believe the last employee that we hired from the city of Belmont was Sheila Harrington. Okay. Didn't think I knew that, huh? Okay, Roya, how are you? Good seeing you tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Roya Gonzalez, and Roya was recently appointed the administrative analyst in the city manager's office. Roya was hired by the city in 2011 as a senior administrative support specialist, splitting her time between the maintenance and building divisions. In 2016, she transferred full-time to building inspection, where she served as the Public Works Department point of contact for the public, accepted and tracked building inspection submittals, scheduled inspection requests, and assisted with the development and implementation of a new software program. In 2017, Roya was promoted to the administrative assistant position in the building division, focusing largely on the Civic Center project. Early work included assisting with the programming and building space needs study, and once Measure GG was approved, she began providing additional support to the Civic Center project, the largest capital project in Newark's history. Her work included conducting research on various construction models, assisting with drafting of RFPs, and providing support to City Council presentations. In 2019, Roya was reclassified as the project/administrative assistant. In this role, she helped manage the $88.7 million budget, contributed to the overall oversight of the Civic Center project, and was instrumental in facilitating the relocation and transfer to our new amenities. In 2020, she was promoted to administrative analyst in the Public Works Department while continuing to provide oversight on the completion of the Civic Center project. And in 2021, Roya was recognized for her extraordinary achievements related to the Civic Center project when Mayor Nagy awarded her a commendation. Roya has truly enjoyed her time in Public Works and will certainly miss daily interactions with the team, but is excited to continue her career with the City of Newark and take on new and exciting projects. Roya grew up in Walnut Creek and now lives in Fremont with her husband and their 2 kids, Jaden and Elise. In her free time, she enjoys being outdoors, hiking, and spending time with her family. And Roya, again, want to congratulate you in your new position, and well-deserved. And I think this facility and the surrounding grounds here is a testament to the kind of work that you're capable of. And and Newark is a benefactor of. So thank you for all that you do for us. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, the next item on our agenda is public comment on any item that's not listed on the agenda. For Zoom attendees, please use the raise your hand feature if you'd like to speak. Would anyone in the audience like to speak tonight under public comments? Anybody? Okay, City Clerk Harrington, are there any requests to speak online?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. So the next item on our agenda is the consent calendar, and the consent calendar is going to consist of items D1 through D5. Are there any items that staff would like pulled from the consent calendar?
Not this evening, Your Honor.
Okay, are there any items that the council would like pulled from the consent calendar?
Yes, Mayor, D3, please.
D3. Okay. And I'm sorry, Councilmember Koyaza, did you have one? No, okay. Okay. And are there any items that anybody in the public would like pulled from the consent calendar? Items D1, 2, 4, and 5. Okay, so the consent calendar is going to consist of the following. Item D1 is approval of audited demands. Item D2 is approval of the April 14th, 2022 special and regular meeting minutes. Item D4 is adopt a resolution approving the First Amendment to the contractual services agreement with Greenfelder Commercial Real Estate, LLC, to increase the not-to-exceed amount by $40,000 and authorizing a budget amendment to the biennial budget 2020-2022 for fiscal year 2022 to provide funding for retail property research. And item D5 is adopt a resolution approving the First Amendment to the contractual services agreement with Economic Impact Catalyst for economic development, digital platform, and consulting services, and authorize an increase in the not-to-exceed amount by an additional $80,000 for an additional 3-year period, and authorizing an amendment to the 2020-2022 biennial budget for fiscal year 2021-22 to increase the general fund professional services in the amount of $25,000. Would someone like to move that the items be approved as recommended by staff, with any items approved by resolution or ordinance being numbered consecutively, and that the reading of the title suffice for purposes of introduction or adoption of the ordinance?
So move the items.
Okay, is there a second? Second. Okay, and please vote. Okay, motion passes, 4 ayes and 1 absent. Councilmember Bucci absent. Okay, item E is public hearings. Oh, I'm sorry, D3. Okay, D3, Vice Mayor.
You try so hard to minimize. Thank you, Mayor. This is really an important resolution that our city should support. The resolution asks that the city of Newark support locating a trauma center at Washington Hospital. And the reason that is so important to especially to our community, is that we have not seen a new trauma center in Alameda County since 1987. Since the Alameda County adopted these trauma centers, which are currently up in Castro Valley and Oakland, we've seen our population grow in the southern part of the county up to currently 350,000 people, with an expected growth up to 403,000 by the year 2040. And I would imagine that a good percentage of those residents are senior citizens. So I think it's important as we deal with trauma in our neighborhoods that we look to expand trauma services at Washington Hospital. And therefore, Mayor, I would absolutely like to make the motion to support this item if there's no other comments.
Okay. So the first thing I'll do is ask in the audience, does anybody like to speak on this item, D3? Okay. Ms. Harrington, is anybody?
We do, Your Honor.
Okay.
Ms. Hartz, please unmute yourself. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. I am Kimberly Hartz. I am the CEO of Washington Hospital Healthcare System. And I want to first thank Mayor Nagy and the rest of the Newark City Council for considering this important request for our supporting Washington Hospital Healthcare System as a designated trauma center. As an independent healthcare district, your local hospital, our mission is truly to serve the needs of our community. We know for over a decade, our community has asked us to consider to be a trauma center. We have taken this request very seriously. We have taken steps to put the infrastructure in place to ensure that we are able to serve this community appropriately as a trauma center. As you know, we opened the Morris Hyman Critical Care Pavilion in 2018 with a 48-bed intensive care unit and a 39-bed ED with 2 trauma bays that we use daily. We have also worked with consultants to understand the operational needs in order to be a fully functioning trauma center, and we are ready to take those next steps if designated by our county. We know how important it is to the community because right now in South County, our community, if there is a need for a trauma service, they have to go north to Eden, or they have to go south and cross county lines in order to receive services. And everyone knows that the important time to receive care is within that golden hour. And it is really important if you need trauma services to receive them quickly. And we feel that our South County needs to have a trauma center, and we're ready as your community hospital to provide that service. And we respectfully request your support in doing this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Harrington, is anybody else on?
That concludes public comment, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion by Vice Mayor Hannon. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, please vote. Motion passes 4-0 and 1 absent. Councilmember Bucci absent.
Resolution of the City Council of the City of Newark in support of locating a trauma center at Washington Hospital Healthcare that will provide advanced life-saving medical care and ambulance support within an acceptable trauma response time, and encourages the Alameda County Board of Supervisors to approve a trauma center in southern Alameda County.
Okay, thank you. So item E is public hearings. There are no public hearings this evening. Item F is other business, and there's no other business. So we'll go to item G, City Council matters. First item on City Council matters is adopting a resolution confirming the mayor's appointments to the Community Development Advisory Committee. Lori Bogasich resigned from the Community Development Advisory Committee when she accepted the appointment to the Planning Commission. Namit Saxena and Raju Matthew have each requested appointment to that committee. This particular committee does not have a restriction on the number of public appointees, so I'm recommending to the City Council to confirm the appointments of both gentlemen. First of all, would anybody in the audience like to speak on this item? Okay. City Clerk Harrington, or any requests to speak online?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Any council member comments?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Councilmember Koyazu.
Isn't it a great city that we live in when one person gives up a position that they volunteer for, and we have two people fighting for the same position. That's the Newark way. You know, we are just so full of volunteers here. We're so blessed that all the hours that our volunteers put in, we couldn't pay enough to get all that done that they do for our community. So I just want to say thank you.
Okay, thank you. Would someone like to make a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second, Mayor.
Okay. Please vote. Motion passes, 4 ayes, 1 absent. Councilmember Bucci absent.
Resolution of the City Council of the City of Newark approving the appointments of Raju Matthew and Namit Saxena to the Community Development Advisory Committee.
Okay, thank you. And so we'll go to matters. Let's see, I have nothing this evening, so I will start with Councilmember Freitas.
I have nothing, Your Honor, tonight either.
Okay.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Hannan.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just want to wish all mothers, foster mothers, grandparents a joyous Mother's Day coming up. There's no greater person in my mind that's responsible for the successful upbringing of our children than our mothers. They don't get enough credit for all the hard work that they do day in and day out to ensure that our young people grow up to be responsible, contributing members of society. So to all those mothers out there, whether they be single moms, married mothers, whatever the case may be, wish you a happy Mother's Day. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. And Councilmember Collazo.
I want to also wish everybody a happy Mother's Day. None of us would be here without our mother. So thank you, Mom. And I was wearing jeans today. Tomorrow is National Denim Day, and they ask that you wear denim to encourage, raise awareness to rape, and my mind's drawing a blank. I'm in that seniors.
I got you. We'll have a new trauma center soon.
Raise awareness to rape, yes. And also, Cinco de Mayo is right around the corner. So please have a feliz Cinco de Mayo. Thank you.
And there's one thing that...
Shop Newark.
Okay.
Why do you think our sales tax are doing so well?
Shop Newark.
So that ends council matters. We'll go to the next item, which is the closed session. And we have 2 closed sessions this evening. First of all, would anybody in the audience like to address the council before we recess to the closed session? Okay. City Clerk Harrington, is any, no Zoom attendees? Okay. So the 2 City Council meeting will recess to and go into a closed session for a conference with the labor negotiators pursuant to California Government Code Section 54957.6, agency designated representatives, City Manager Benoon, Assistant City Manager of Orca, and Human Resources Director Solido. Employee groups, the Newark Association of Miscellaneous Employees, the Newark Police Management Association, the Newark Police Association, the Confidential Employee Group, and city officials and the management, supervisory, and professional employee groups. In the second closed session for a conference with labor negotiator pursuant to California Government Code Section 54957.6, agency designated representative, Mayor Nagy, unrepresented employee, City Manager Benoon. So with that, this meeting is now in recess.